is very prone to be abused by manipulators because it allows for an impressive amount of insight into the way that different people are cognizant of the world around them. This information easily allows individuals with twisted interests to take advantage of what is inherently a part of some people, using their strengths and habits to trap them into performing whatever actions they would like to convince them to partake in. When considering this, it's important both to know the strengths of the people out there who want to manipulate you and to know your own weaknesses. Manipulators have a great front. They project a confident, extroverted energy which feels like you should believe they are a trustworthy person. When you are exposed to this energy, the feeling is subtle. Decades of the manipulators' lives have been spent refining their strategies so that they could strike the right impression on their targets. If you have any sort of insecurity or inability to supply yourself with what you desire, then you are the ideal target for some sorts of people. Any instability within yourself can be played against you to great effect. This is because if you don't have complete confidence within yourself, then you are more prone to believing someone else's attempts to convince you that you need help or that they know better. So one of the first things to develop to protect yourself will be to become in tune with your emotional energies. Realizing what parts of yourself are being spoken to when you are in a conversation and take notice of anything being played. There are several attributes that can be played against someone, so notice if there are any weak spots within yourself. For example, if someone is insecure about their ability to navigate, then they might follow the same path every day due to the suggestion of someone that they meet outside. This path just happens to coincide with the place where the person who gives the direction hangs out every day. Through suggesting this path, that person now has an opportunity on a daily basis to both ask for favors and to work on planting more seeds of thoughts in their target's head. It's hard to notice this behavior because manipulative people get good over time. If they didn't, then they would be run out of town by a mob wielding pitchforks. But it is through their social graces that they often end up in comfortable places within our societies. This is what makes them so dangerous. They can be found anywhere you would find anyone else. They are masters of camouflage. This is why the body must be consulted. We don't feel good when we are being controlled. In fact, we develop brain fog. We have less motivation to accomplish the things we were interested in, and general pains set in. All of these symptoms can appear when you are the target of a manipulator, and often many of them will. If they do, don't blame yourself. Consider how you are being treated and see if there are any relationships in your life that you need to address. Often we are too afraid to question the people in our life to admit that we are being wronged. Give yourself the permission to be the victim and analyze your relationships in as unbiased a way as you can possibly manage. Addressing your own proclivity towards being manipulated is the most important step in defending against dark energy, because you need to be aware of how you can be played. Once you know your vulnerabilities and how it feels when they are preyed upon, then you will be able to recognize when someone is manipulating you. This is the first step in protecting yourself from that and reversing whatever they are attempting to do. If you cannot do this, then you will not be able to defend yourself from manipulative people adequately. They know how to bend people better than you understand how people should look. So the best strategy for you to adapt is to know yourself as best you can. There is no way that they've been able to learn to understand you as much as you understand yourself. Once you have achieved protecting yourself, then you can focus on the different sorts of lies. Every individual has their own style. There are as many ways to lie as there are waves in the sea. But there are still certain habits that liars tend to have. The easiest way to break them up is to the extroverted functions, but the introverted functions play a large role in lying as well. Extroverted intuition is perhaps the best friend of the manipulator. It allows people the insight, understanding, and finesse necessary to pick up information on their target, understand how their target relates to that information, and how to play it against them. The way to recognize the presence of manipulative NE is that you feel like your thoughts are being completed, but you're not finishing them. You're vocalizing yourself, but your sentences are almost being finished for you. The other person in the conversation is following what you say to conclusions that make a lot of sense, but weren't quite what you were thinking of. This style of manipulation is incredibly effective and difficult to perceive because it imitates a normal conversation almost perfectly. They develop the conversation as if they're incredibly interested, asking pertinent questions and trying to contribute to your ideas, but they're doing so to earn your trust, not to engage with you. You can feel this by realizing that you're not expressing yourself, but being herded along to wherever the other person is taking you. Extroverted feeling is another function with excellent use as a manipulative tool, although FE is best utilized by women. This is because society is built around women using FE as their form of communication and expression. Due to this, many women and men have used their decades of experience with the function to warp it into a way to drive others. It works through applying social pressure. The way that extroverted feeling works are that the pressures from the atmosphere of the environment or the conversation influences the moods of those who use it. Those with a dark interest in FE take advantage of that to gain whatever they want by manipulating these moods. One of the easiest examples is using relationship standards to either drain a significant other for resources or to convince them to change, or both. This is so effective because FE leads are some of the most charming people within our society. Again, it was built for them. To notice the influence of this form of manipulation, you only need to look at your self-image. Being manipulated like this absolutely destroys how you think about yourself and how you think of your place within the world. If your confidence is absolutely abhorrent while everyone else is convincing you that you're fine, that you're doing a great job and that you belong where you do, then run. People who care about you don't try to convince you nothing is wrong when you feel awful. They respect your feelings and listen to you. They don't want you to feel the negative emotions that you do, but they respect your right to and offer any sort of support that they can. If that's not what happens with the situation you're in, then you're likely under the influence of a toxic FE users. Extroverted thinking is a favorite tool of the narcissist. Through it, they can validate all of their egoism and caustic thinking. Science, religion, culture, and academia all become mere material for them to use to spin to prove their points. They will use any sort of authority to claim the right to lord over the people in their lives, using their access to knowledge as proof of their superiority. This is one of the most effective manipulative tactics, not because it's hard to recognize or because it's sustainable, but because narcissists are incredibly brazen people. Even if they're causing terrible harm to the people around them, they are likely to stay their course and remain uncaring about the effects of their beliefs and statements. Finally, extroverted sensation is the tool of those who want to distract. They use their ability to sense space and to create a good atmosphere to lure people into certain mindset. Often, this is done to build trust with their target or to lead their target away from a trial which would reveal the misdoings of the manipulator. To convince their targets, they make use of food, sex, aesthetics, comfort, and any other bodily comforts to distract them while the manipulator pursues their true goal. This is easy to observe due to the literal evidence that this tactic often leaves behind. If someone is treating you to great things while making you feel terrible, then this is probably the tactic they are using. There are many other ways to manipulate, and all of the introverted functions have their nuances. But the extroverted functions are easier to examine performing this activity. Still, don't study these as definitions but outliners or sketches. Apply this knowledge to your own life as a way to try to organize your experience but not to define it. Define your life for yourself and you will be safe.